So there are a total of 135 Republican House members who voted in favor of red flag laws last week. It's a long list of people. There are some notable names on there. I highlighted some of the names. We'll go through the list. I'm not going to name every single person, of course, but I'm going to highlight some of the people who are notable, some of the names that may be a shock. Some you're not going to be surprised at all. But anyway, Madison Cawthorn is one of those congressmen, and he actually, because he got so much backlash for it, he actually issued this statement on it. So I don't know if y'all heard it yet, but let's just hear what he has to say.
Hey everyone, Madison Cawthorn here. Wanted to make a really quick video concisely responding to these criticisms of people believing that I support red flag laws. One, that is completely false. I believe the Second Amendment was written so that we can have a well-armed citizenry, because as soon as we give up our weapons, we are no longer citizens, but we're subjects. The Second Amendment was written so that if we ever needed to stop tyranny, we could do so. That is what it's for, clear and simple. I am trying to abolish the NFA, trying to work on this Hearings Protections Act, trying to make sure SBR is taking off the NFA first thing as fast as I possibly can, and then I want to abolish the NFA in totality later as soon as we gain the majority. But the reason I had to take a vote yesterday, which is one that is the National Defense Authorization Act, which is one that is used to actually pay for our military, give them a pay raise, all of these things. The reason I had to vote for it yesterday, and let me explain it, that just because it passed in this first iteration does not mean that this is going into law. It has to go through this system, what's called taking it to conference, then it has to go through the Senate, then we have to vote on it again. So this was not actually passing this into law. There's a lot of minutia behind the scenes of how Washington works with this. So I promise you this red flag bullshit is not going into law. The reason we had to vote for this is because so many of our active duty military who are refusing to take the vaccine are being dishonorably discharged. And that basically makes them a felon in our society. And that is something that I think is just absolutely wrong and incorrect. Unfortunately, we had a stolen election, so therefore Joe Biden is in command of our military, and he's trying to force all of these vaccines down the throats of our military. And so the reason we had to vote for this and get it through quickly is so that it would prohibit people who decline to take the vaccine in the military from being dishonorably discharged. Now, let me explain to you the red flag portion of that. So that was a portion that, yes, it is in that bill, but then going into conference. I've spoken to people on the Senate side, and I know for a fact this will not go into law. This part will be stripped out of it. If it is not in it, I will absolutely burn it to the ground. That is impossible, and I'll make sure it does not pass through the House. So I just want to let you all know I am not betrayed anybody in the Second Amendment community. I promise I will always have your back. I am armed every single day. I believe.
Okay, so I commend him for saying that. However, this still feels like a compromise to me. It feels like giving in to the demands of the left, because them putting in red flag laws, they're always trying to sprinkle in and add and bake in stuff into these bills. And then Republicans just go along with it. And then it's always giving ground. And personally, if it were me and I were in his shoes, sorry, I'm not going on record having voted to subvert the Second Amendment. I'm not doing it, especially right now when you got all this rhetoric about this mandated medicine, about Biden talking about nuking Americans. We have the worst president, most tyrannical president in my lifetime. And I'm not going on record voting for something that's going to eventually become law if the Democrats do take out. So for him to even say, I know for a fact that this won't pass. You don't know for a fact. You don't know who's going to turn coat. You don't know who's been bought off. We've been stabbed in the back by so many Republicans, so many so-called conservatives, so many so-called liberty-minded politicians that pretend like that they stand on solid ground and they're going to defend the Constitution, when in reality, they're just ceding ground to the left. It's just a speed bump towards tyranny. If you look at our country, it continues to move left no matter who's in office. No matter who's been in office, whether it's a Republican-controlled House and Senate, Republican-controlled White House, we still move to the left. So what are we conserving if we're going to vote in mass for red flag laws and say, well, no, this is about our military servicemen getting dishonorable discharge? You should have stood your ground at the beginning. Like, the red flag needs to be out of there. get it out. We're not voting for it. It should have been held up in the House. That's just my opinion, but I'm not a politician. I don't know all of the inner workings and the ins and outs of everything that went on. But to me, this is a bad optics. This is a bad look that you would go on record having voted for red flag confiscation. Now, Madison Cawthorn, I will give him the benefit of the doubt because he just explained his rationale for why he did it. Even though I don't agree with it, he still went on record to say, hey, guys, here's the situation. It's terrible. It's awful. But here is the plan. He at least says that. But I'm not even going to give him a pass, but I'm going to say, like I said, he gets the benefit of the doubt. However, the other 134 Republicans, unless they've gone on record, they don't get the same pass. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Right off top, look at this list right here, okay? You got Madison Cawthorn, you got Liz Cheney, and Dan Crenshaw. Now, let's start with Liz Cheney. Do you think Liz Cheney cares about the Second Amendment? Do you think her voting yes for red flag laws is the same as Madison Cawthorn? He just explained why he voted for it, but has Liz Cheney? Do you think that all of these Republicans voted because of the reason Madison Cawthorn did? It's possible, but unless they make it known, I can only assume that they're trying to undermine the Second Amendment. Liz Cheney, I could see her wanting to undermine the Second Amendment. She's a Republican in name only. She gets more praise, more support from Democrat leadership. Her constituency absolutely despises her. She has to get George Bush to come in and fundraise for her because she's not getting small dollar donations. She's going to appeal to the donor class, special interest groups. She's probably trying to just line her pockets on her way out because Trump endorsing her opponent means she's all but done. All right. So I don't think Liz Cheney cares about the Second Amendment. I don't think she cares about the Constitution. She's certainly not America First. She despises this MAGA, America First, liberty movement, whatever you want to call this new resurgence of conservatism in America. She's not on board with it. She wants the good old days, the George Bush days, when Dick Cheney and George Bush and John McCain were the figureheads of the Republican Party. That's what she wants. She's old school. Okay. Dan Crenshaw, he supports red flag laws. He said, as a matter of fact, he said that after the shootings, we had 2 mass shootings, I believe in 2019, one in Ohio and then one in Texas. You ever remember that? It was like El Paso, a Walmart, and then there was one in like Toledo, Ohio, or somewhere, Dayton, I think it was. Dan Crenshaw, within a day or so, issued a statement saying that he supported red flag gun laws. I'm sorry. So him voting for this now makes me think he still believes we should have red flag laws. And he's gotten criticism for it. I'm sure he's issued statements about it. But this is now twice that he's on record supporting red flag laws. Who else we got on the list? Congressman Matt Gaetz out of Florida. This is a disappointing one. Now, it's very possible that he has the same reason for voting for it as Madison Cawthorn, which I still disagree with. I would never vote on anything that I do not support and is not defending the Constitution. I don't care if it's it's a workaround. We're playing the long game, 5D chess. I don't care. No, you got to put your foot down right away. Okay, so it's possible that Matt Gaetz does not support red flag laws. I have no idea. I'm waiting for him to issue a statement. He just followed me on Twitter. Maybe I'll reach out to him. And I bet you know what? He's a nice guy. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus. I'm not trying to badmouth him. He would probably clear the air and say something similar. But it's still a bad look to see your congressman on a list of people that are trying to undermine the Second Amendment, especially right now. Who else you got? Anthony Gonzalez out of Ohio. This isn't a shocker. He's a rhino. Trump endorsed his opponent. He is not seeking re-election, so he's just going for broke. He doesn't care. But still, not a surprise to see his name on that list. There's a couple more on here. Greg Pence out of Indiana, Mike Pence's brother. I don't know anything about the guy, but do you think that he supports the red flag laws, or do you think he stands with for the reason that Madison Cawthorn said? Is it really about what's going on in the military? I don't know. You got to go through this list. 135 Republicans on this list. Mike Waltz out of Florida. This is another shocker. I mean, he's my congressman, so I'm not, I'm surprised to see this. And again, I want to see statements. I want to know what this is about. And this is why I keep saying it is so important to vet the people that you're going to vote for in your state. Because especially if it's in a red area and you know that like they could just coast to re-election, don't just give them your vote. If they have a primary challenger, vet that primary challenger and then compare them with the voting record of your current congressman. So if you were to vet, let's say in my county, it's a red county. Mike Waltz, I think he got elected in 2018. I can't remember. But let's say he was up for re-election and he had no Democrat challengers, just a red county. He's going to get reelected. I could either just vote for him like, yep, it's a Republican. Let's just keep it red, status quo. Or if he had an opponent, a primary opponent, I would look at that primary opponent. Okay, what do you bring to the table that my current congressman doesn't? And then I would look at my current congressman and see, well, he voted for red flag laws. He voted for the debt ceiling to be raised. He voted for whatever. Then I would be like, well, I'm going to support this guy. Even Trump himself at the last rally in Georgia over the weekend, he acknowledged that endorsing Brian Kemp was a mistake. And he also said somebody told him to endorse Brian Kemp. So right off top, Trump's not getting the best advice. If he endorsed Brian Kemp, he endorsed some other people that he's probably not proud of. They stabbed him in the back. He went and endorsed Kelly Loeffler, and she stabbed him in the back. So there, you know what I mean? There's a lot that can be done to strengthen and stiffen the spine of the GOP. Right now, it's really weak outside of a handful of people who are really outspoken and really are just like firebrands. That's what we need. We need people with a fighting spirit. No more milquetoast, fence-sitting rhinos and just kind of like, I don't know, bland candidates. We need fighters in there, people that are going to fiercely defend the Constitution.